What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Alolan DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Last episode we covered another Alolan form of Alolan Persian, and I gave you a choice between two legendaries and Ultra Beasts basically for today. We had Tapu Fini, the Last Guardian, or we had Nihilego, and Tapu Fini of course came out on top, so we're covering that today. But for next episode, 149, we have another Ultra Beast, and it's going to be a choice between Celesteela or Guzzlord. So would you like to see the Steel Flying Celesteela or the Dark Dragon Guzzlord? Let me know down below in the comment section by saying either Celesteela or Guzzlord, and the one with most votes will be covered next episode. But for now, let's jump and have a look at Tapu Fini. It's number 788 in the National Pokédex, a Water Fairy type and the Land Spirit Pokemon. It's 4 foot and 3 inches or 1.3 meters tall and weighs 46.7 pounds or 21.2 kilograms, so not huge but not tiny. It's in the Undiscovered Egg group, of course, being a legendary, has a gender or genderless nature, I guess, or genderless gender, maybe, who knows exactly, and doesn't evolve from or into any other Pokemon. Base stat wise, obviously all the Guardians have the same stats, they just mix them around a bit, and Tapu Fini's highest base stat is Special Defense at 130, then Physical Defense at 115, Special Attack at 95, Speed at 85, Attack at 75, and finally Health Points at 70, so basically it's the most defensive out of all of the Guardians really, which means it's almost the least used because really they're best for offensive capabilities, but it still has some space. In terms of its ability, we have Misty Surge, which turns the ground into misty terrain when it enters battle. Of course, misty terrain is sort of the worst of the terrains because all its effects are Pokemon can't be affected by non-volatile stats conditions, so burn and stuff like that, which isn't too bad, I suppose. But the other effect is the halves damage taken from Dragon-type moves, which is great because Tapu Fini is already immune to Dragon-type moves, so unless you're looking at in a double battle sort of situation, Misty Terrain is only good for stopping you from getting burnt or stopping you from getting paralyzed, for example. So it's not the best, maybe, but it is what it is. Moving on then, and having a look at its typing, as I mentioned, it has that fairy type, so it is a good thing in there. But it resists 6 types overall of fire, water, fighting, bug, ice and dark, weak to 3 with grass, electric and poison, immune to dragon as I mentioned, and takes neutral from the other 8 types. So I'd say it's a pretty decent type, more resistances than weaknesses, and an immunity, it's not too bad. So what moves could you use with Tapu Fini? Well, there's actually quite a lot. Because of its fairly high stats, you could use it offensively, but its main use is defensively, meaning it has a very wide move pool. Starting off with some level up moves. First, level 32, or probably via heart scale unless you're a cheater, we have Brine with 65 base power, water type move of course, so stab there. Brine is obviously an alternative water type move, it's not the one you usually run, but Brine can be used to get that extra damage when they're at low health, so you could run it for that instance because your attacking stats aren't amazingly high. It's like one shot a Pokemon, you have to work them down slowly. Obviously that extra power Brine brings when your opponent is on low health is quite a benefit there. Then level 38, we have Defog, which can clear out the battlefield from anything that's on the battlefield, of course. So it's definitely a good Defog user here with Tapu Fini. As I mentioned, it can be used defensively, so that's why it's good there. Level 43, we have Nature's Madness. 90% accuracy, basically no base power, because all it does is halves the opponent's health. Now, this seems like really sort of like an iffy move for use in competitive, but it's useful here because obviously, as I mentioned, it's not the most offensive Pokemon. Tapu Fini, it doesn't have huge stats, which means if you take advantage of Nature's Madness, you can get, half their health. If it's the most defensive Pokemon in the world, you can halve their health with one move, which is pretty damn good. Then one final level move is Hydro Pump at level 58. This is your all-out attacking water type move. 80% accuracy but 110 base power, so really quite powerful in that situation there. So if you want to go for full power, that's Hydro Pump for you. Then the TMs, if we move on to that, we have TM04 Calm Mind first up, so this is good for a defensive set, boosts your special defense even higher, and also brings your special attack up a bit so you can do some decent damage. Then at TM10 we have Hidden Power. Now one downside you could say to Tapu Fini is its lack of move pool, comboed with its lower offensive stats, but Hidden Power can be used to patch one or two of those holes. Only 60 base power, but it can give you some coverage where you might be lacking some. Then we have TM12 Taunts. Now obviously this is linking with a defensive set for Tapu Fini, so you can taunt the opponent to attack you and stop them from setting up on you or setting up their spikes or whatever they like to see or like to do, and Taunt can just allow you to take those tanky hits there. Next up right away we have TM13 Ice Beam. This is obviously, if we go for offensive set, we have 90 base power rather. Ice, good coverage, really covers the grass type weakness you have, so pretty all around decent move you could run. Then we have TM55 Scold, so this is not quite as powerful as Hydro Pump, but definitely more accurate, and of course we have the chance to burn with this 80 base power, so Scold definitely a viable route to run. And then finally, or next up with the TMs at least, we have TM86 Grass Knot, because why not, bit of coverage here. Obviously you can tell the Pokemon is lacking coverage and we have to resort to Grass Knot, because it can range from 20 base power to 120 base power depending on the weight of the opponent, which means that of course if you come up against a really heavy one you're set. If it's a really light opponent, not really going to do much damage there, but good coverage nonetheless. Then the last few moves. Last TM we have TM94 Surf, so an alternative to Scold again, slightly more power, 10 more base power, but of course no chance to burn, so take what you will from that. And then we have a couple of heart scales to finish up. First is Haze, which of course erases any stat changes on the field, which is pretty good if someone's setting up on you. You can send in Tapu Fini to clear it out and basically say, nope, not today. And the other heart scale move is Moonblast, which of course is our fairy type move. We definitely want to be running this. There's no point running any of our fairy type moves. Moonblast is the one to go, so you have a decent fairy stab there to deal with the dragons and the dark types and everything like that. So those are your moves for Tapu Fini. We're going to look at two sets for Tapu Fini here. We have first up basically sort of a bulky one and then more of an offensive one. So the bulky one is the, I guess, recommended, but you can run it offensively. In terms of the moveset for the first one, we have Moonblast, Brine or Scold as the first slot, then we have Taunt, Nature's Madness or Haze, and then Defog. Ability of course is Misty Surge with a timid nature and leftovers as a held item, and the EVs we have maximum health points and speed, and the last few in special attack. So we have basically one attacking move here in Moonblast, Brine or Scold. Moonblast for the fairy type coverage, Brine or Scold for the water type coverage, and obviously Brine for the low health finish him, or we have Scold for the overtime, possibly burn them. It's up to you which one you choose of course, but there's a few different options there. The rest of the moves are, sort of centered around being defensive, being a utility. So we have Taunt to stop anyone from setting up on you in terms of maybe spikes or exactly stat changes. Then we have Nature's Madness or Haze, which Nature's Madness halves the opponent's health, so if you're coming up against someone who has completely maximized their physical attack stat, that doesn't matter to Tapu Fini, just smack it down. Or Haze, because of course that will eliminate the stat changes anyway and allow you to go on and take them out. Defog is the last slot because of course we want to be able to clear the battlefield and build up that utility once more. We have the Timid Nature because we want to be fast to be able to taunt the opponent, stop them from actually getting any setup moves off, as well as to haze before you possibly take a really powerful attack with loads of attack boosts. And then Defog is not really speed rated, but generally Timid, we're not going for power here, and our defenses are high enough, so we might as well go for a Speed Nature to get those taunts off. And a held item is going to be leftovers to allow us to survive. Basically, we have no health restoration moves, so we have to rely on leftovers in this case, and it'll do the job. EV-wise, we have maximum health points for the bulk all around on both our physical and our special defense, and then speed, again similar to Timid Nature for being fast and getting those taunts off, with the last few in the special attack just to put a bit of power in the Moonblast or the Brine or the Scold. In terms of using this set, as I mentioned, it is utility, so you don't want to be sending Tapu Fini out to do spam Moonblasts. If the opponent is maybe use it as a lead, so you can taunt anyone that's going to stealth rock you or spike you. If you didn't do that and later on in the battle they have set it up, send them in for a defog, or someone's trying to set up on you, switch them in, taunt them, haze them, gone, and then you can go ahead and attack or switch out whatever you'd like to do there. But we'll move on to the second set, which is basically all out power. We have, in terms of moves, Moonblast, Hydro Pump or Surf, Hidden Power, and then Defog, Grass Knot or Ice Beam. Ability is Misty Surge again, Nature once again is Timid, and the held item here we have Choice Specs or Life Orbs, obviously an offensive item this time. EV wise, we have maximum special attack and maximum speed for power and speed, as you might expect. The last few in health points, just a bit of bulk there. So obviously the moveset is slightly different. We have 3-4 attacking moves with a lot of power behind them. Moonblast, Fairy Stab, Hydro Pump or Surf is a water stab. Of course you can run Scold there if you want, but generally we go for the higher power when we're running a Choice Specs or a Life Orb set, and not rely on the burns. Of course Hydro Pump, accuracy, Surf, consistency. Or Hydro Pump power rather, Surf is accuracy and consistency. Hidden Power is, an option. You could run Grass Knot and Ice Beam, but generally Hidden Power gives you a bit more coverage. In terms of what moves you might want, types you might want to cover, we have Grass, Electric and Poison as your three weaknesses. Grass can be covered by Ice Beam, which you can run the last slot. Electric and Poison, possibly Ground type Hidden Power would be useful there. It depends what else you're team is missing in terms of moves what you're weak to. Defog, Grass Knot, Ice Beam is the last slot. Grass Knot or Ice Beam, interchangeable. You could run both if you wanted, but Grass Knot is unreliable. Ice Beam is pretty good coverage nonetheless. Defog is also there even if you're running a choice specs, because you can switch in, defog, switch out. That's all it's there for. If you need a defogger on the team, it can definitely fit the purpose while still being fairly offensive. Of course, if you're on a life, it doesn't matter anyway. You can just use it in between attacks. And yeah, Timid Nature again for all the speed. It's not hugely necessary. You could run a Modest Nature here, so you're more powerful, but then of course you're going to be slower, and you might be susceptible to being taken out before you even get enough moves off, basically. So Timid Nature is the way to go, but you can ride. Choice Specs or Life Orb is up to you. Choice Specs will lock you into whatever move you're using, of course, so it will be that case there, but Life Orb allows you to be a bit more flexible, while obviously draining your health points, but this is an all-out attacking set, so it's not designed to last forever. EV-wise, of course, we're going for the maximum offensive capabilities here, with special attack and speed, and the last few sprinkled in bulk, just to give us a bit more defensive there. In terms of using this set, it's a standard choice or life orb set. You go in, you attack, you switch out. As I mentioned, if you have defog, if the opponent sets up some stealth rocks, you can go in, you can defog, you can switch out, and then just repeat that as many times as you need to. Of course, stealth rocks or spikes will slowly drain your health, so it's not recommended, but you could do it if you really need a defogger on your team, and Tapu Fini can be that defogger. But that is going to be it for the Alolan DataDex today, guys. Don't forget to vote for the next episode's Pokemon, either Celesteela or Guzzlord. Let me know what you should like to see covered next episode by commenting down below, and the one with most votes will be covered in the next episode. But for now, I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.